Sorry about that. I had to turn the microphone on. All right. Let me see what we're going to work on today. So I'm working on this still. It is Spidersona, which, if you're not familiar with, is the it was that trend when Into the Spider-Verse came out, where you drew, yourself as a spider person. So with Into the Spider-Verse coming out, Across the Spiderverse coming out, I decided to work on my own. I'm doing a redraw of one where it's essentially a spider dad. So on this one, I worked on this one last week. I still have it up on my channel. I'm also uploading to YouTube as well, so if you want to watch it there. But I wanted to make some changes, so I didn't like this hand, so I'm going to be redrawing that hand. I'm going to be adjusting the spider, the web shooters. A friend pointed out that I always have a jacket with a hoodie attached, so I decided to add that on there. I'm going to change some of the coloration and marks on the suit. This leg and feet on both were not proportioned right. If you want to see my original sketch that I did, it looked like this. And the thing with sketches is that you look at them and they look fine, and then you sit down and start drawing it, and suddenly everything's off. Like, just everything's off. So that's what I'm going back and fixing. So it's good to keep your sketch. I'm using Ibis Paint. It is a free app that you can use on Android, on iOS, including the iPad, and on desktop as well. It's constantly updated. It's got cloud synchronization, so I can save all of my images, my files, in fact, in the cloud, which means that when my phone crashes, like it did a few versions ago, you don't lose all your artwork. You can import PSDs. You can export PSDs in Clip Studio. So if you ever want to start in this app and then finish off somewhere, that's always an option. Like if you have access to Photoshop, for example, but not at home or wherever you are, you can always work in Ibis and then move it over to Photoshop. It's pretty versatile. I like it mostly because I can make an entire comic in it. That's what I like to do, is draw comics. So the idea that I can sit down and do everything from my text to my drawing to even the frames and everything, the panel borders, all in one app is very good. All right, let's get started. So normally what I would do is I would save the line art. I would duplicate the line art and save it, so that if I screw up, I still have the original, but I don't particularly like this line art. for most of this stuff, so I'm just gonna get my eraser and erase it. This is the ideal reason you have digital, is for this reason right here. So what I need to do actually is undo, adjust the opacity. And go back and draw on the right layer. Why is it doing that? I'm on the right. Oh. I was also streaming for pretty much the first time last week, so there was that learning curve that was happening while I was attempting to draw this guy. It's trying to figure it out. Looking up a reference. Give me one sec. And I'm streaming straight from the Twitch app. I'm still trying to figure out the all the third-party apps that you can stream from. I'm still trying to figure those out. Although for me, so far, this seems to be working. Wow, I actually did it. Hands are not my specialty. So if I can draw a hand on the first try. Actually, that wasn't the first try because I did the sketch underneath, but on the first try, air quotes, I'm happy. And sometimes a lot of this is like, you're fine, and then you look at it, you just step back and look back at it, and you go, oh, never mind. Okay, so that hand looks fine. I need to draw the fingerless gloves, so I never did a sketch of this ahead of time, so I don't have like a reference of what this is supposed to look like as far as like the design. I don't have a reference for it. I just am got it in my head, which is like the worst place for a reference to be. So one thing I need to do is this layer. So I'm changing the, like I said, I'm changing the way the spider suit looks. What I need to do is go to this layer. I need to go to my bucket and do canvas. Oop, too much. I'm lowering the expansion to 0 because I'm not trying to expand it at all. I know it looks like I didn't do anything. And then I'm going to go now I want to go to current layer. Fill those in. Go back to this layer. Get rid of these. I know it just doesn't look like it's making any sense, but it will. Or it won't, and I can just go back and change it. Why did I do that? Just need to go make sure it's set on layer. That was a lot of extra work I didn't need to do. Nope. This made sense in my head. Oh, I think I need to go back. Undo button. Alright, so what I'm trying to do, I need to just think this through. I'm trying to fill this in black as well as part of the costume up here. But if I go and I fill it in black here, that's what I need to do. Okay, I got it now. This is black. Yeah, that's black, that's black. This layer. Sometimes the brain is slow. Now I'm gonna move the expansion up again. Okay. Honestly, if this was all just on one layer, it would be easier. These are supposed to be spider legs, if it's not very clear. I'm using these flat colors right now. I will go back and change them. I just do current layer. Yep. Oh, I see. And I can clean that up later. I see, like, all of this stuff gets erased from earlier. What I'll do is I turn this layer off, and I can just go to my bucket, and I can turn on canvas. Just paint in the bits that are missing. Alright, next up is a hoodie. Alright, so this hoodie is attached to the neck, like the collar of the jacket. I kind of wanted to emulate the Ben Reilly costume. Well, one, I wanted to emulate the thing that I actually wear. Let's be honest. I wear a denim jacket that has a hoodie attached, so I wanted to emulate that. A friend of mine, Luna Sear, and if you look at Luna Sear in the chat, they pointed out that I normally wear a jacket with a hoodie, either attached or otherwise. And if this was really me, then I needed to do that. I needed to add that on. So, fair enough. So, upon their insight into me, that is what I am doing. And also, classic Spider-Man. maybe, well, classic to some people during the Clone Saga. The dreaded Clone Saga. You had Ben Reilly, who was a clone of Peter Parker, at least revealed to be a clone of Peter Parker, but Ben was like, I'm the real Peter. So this clone of Peter shows up, created by the Jackal, as the Jackal does, and told Peter that they were the real Spider-Man. Peter was actually the clone. The Peter that we were following was actually the clone, and that they were the true one, right? But before all of that, Ben Reilly, which was Uncle Ben's name, and it's Aunt May's maiden name, Riley. Ben decided to make a costume out of a hoodie with a spider on it. He somehow got a black and red jumpsuit with lenses. I don't know where these people find their costumes. Like, I assume that some friend of superheroes made the costume for him, but who knows. Yeah, he had this hoodie costume, and it kind of is just now associate with like this 90s storyline, and Ben Reilly in particular. There's another Scarlet Spider, who is another one of Peter's clones. There's a lot of them, and that Scarlet Spider has just a plain black and red suit, plain, but it's much more traditional looking. It's not my favorite, but I'm stealing some elements from it. As you might have seen, I blacked out the eyes. I don't think his has that, but there's a spider person who has black lenses. At this point, it's really hard to keep track. And I like the idea of like these black mirrored lenses. So I'm going to go through and clean that up. Drew these giant feet, and I don't know what I was thinking at the time. I thought there's one artist who drew pretty large feet for Spider-Man. I can't remember who it is. And the idea was, it was just the way, it was to show that Peter was young, because he was all out of proportion and everything. I don't know what I was thinking. Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work for an adult. So, just cleaning some stuff up. Oh. Which is totally fine to be doing. You could be doing this manually too, but I think so. When I'm drawing traditionally, I tend to spend more time on the sketch. I kind of rough that beginning sketch out pretty quickly. But yeah, I tend to spend a lot more time on the initial sketch. You know what? Let me erase all of the feet first. Makes a cleaner line. But yeah, I draw the sketch first. I spend more time on it rather than trying to improvise. If you were here last time, I was having super hard time on that foot, and one of the reasons why was it was out of proportion and looked stupid. Oh, that would be cool. I could do that. Oops. That doesn't quite look right. I don't have any web elements on this. So I'm going to try something. Nah. Because then I would have to do it all right there too. Or do I? Yeah. So what I'm going to do actually, so that I don't have to worry about overdrawing. So I'm going to get my magic lasso. Now I can draw the webs. Oh, whoops. So what I need to do actually, before I get rid of that, is expand the selection. Okay, 2. And then kind of, Should have did that first. Should have actually did that first. Alright, supposedly this is just for fun. While I have it selected, I'm going to do the webs. Let's start at the bottom. Key to doing Spider-Man webs is to try to get into a rhythm. See, like that's wrong. Oh. And try to space them far enough apart so you don't have to draw so many. I can't remember. There's some professional artists, like comic artists, that was talking about how they would never draw Spider-Man because of the webs. And I don't blame them. I mentioned, by the way, I mentioned in the last stream that, oh yeah, there's, you know, Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales don't have any webs on their designs. Yeah, it's because I'm not thinking, and they totally do. Nope. You go with the curve. Nope. You get in the right rhythm. You can use them as contour lines to like show off. A shape, which is good when you're drawing essentially flats like I am. My coloring style, my general art style tends to be pretty similar to like Lane Claire, which if you're unfamiliar with, that is the style of drawing that the comic 1010 is in. It is generally translated as clear line. The idea is that I'm going to do something real quick. The idea is that it is a drawing style that is essentially line art with flat colors. There's very little shading or anything in Lane Claire, and so that's the idea. I was gonna do something. I'm changing my approach. Am I on the right layer? Yeah. I was gonna fill this in black, but I kind of like how it looks. Gives some definition in that side. So like I need to redo this right here. So the knee, well actually if I go back to here, the knee is actually two shapes. Let me show you. So tend to have your kneecap and then there's this little under shape. So if I was going back here and adding some highlights, which wow, that leg really needs work. But if I'm going back and doing some highlights, let's get my eraser on. be right here, right there. And then maybe I'll do a hint right here too. Let's fill this in with black. See, what I was saying is this leg needs to actually come up. Oop. Like that. It's actually quads right here. So you have one head. You have one head, two head, three head, four heads, right? I'm not that type of... not that type of illustrator to have all of the muscle groups and everything. I like to be pretty clean on it, so probably just going to fill this in and that right there to indicate that. The cup. I'm really torn on this cup. Oh. Well, let's fill that in. So the hand's fine, but the cup just wasn't working for me because it was not registering as a cup. So you can see I redrew the cup on the outside. See how that works out. Every so often you go back and you look at your work and you're like, what was I thinking when I drew that? I'm having that with this cup. Yeah, I didn't do a good job of my hands. Just turn this piece. Like I said, I was trying to figure it out. Because that's going to be... Ooh. Don't like that. One of the reasons I'm having such a hard time with this is I don't drink out of coffee mugs. I drink out of a giant carafe. At some point, You also just call it a day. Good enough is good enough. There's a quote I heard where someone was saying how you could spend an hour, you could spend another hour trying to make something 10% better, or you could just call it a day and move on. And sometimes you just call it a day. Especially when it's for fun. I've got a commission that I get commissioned to make a logo, because that's what happens when you are an artist. You get commissioned to do things that are not art per se. But it's for a friend, and I'm happy to help. But one of the things that happens is that you get asked to do, to do things that you're not necessarily good at, and at some point you gotta call it a day. But also at the same time, you might want to spend some time. I have an idea, and I'm not going to add those in yet. I'm thinking about coloring in this line art right here, which will be a lot easier after. I'm going to put some stuff over, like the hoodie things that, they would be down like this, but they will be going across like that. That's actually a good one. There's one more that I want to add. I might just do it like that. I was going to have it go across, but there we go. So now what we're going to do, bring up these colors that aren't going to match up at all, as you can see. I'm going to go through, I'm going to clean this up. I'm actually just going to get my eraser, make it big, and just, oop, wrong layer. Get rid of all of this and just clean that up later. Constant worry that I'm on the wrong layer. See, so that's one of the things I need to switch off on, if you didn't see what happened, on Ibis Paint. So I'm set to black. If you hold it down, it will select a color, which is fine sometimes, but sometimes you're trying to color and you pause for a second and it color picks. And you're just kind of like, no, didn't want to color pick. Now, these are just flats. These aren't going to actually be the final colors, I don't think. Oop. I know everyone tends to draw Spider-Man with red, but I think I'm going to go with purple. Not that color. But I'm going to fill these in first, and I'm going to come up with a palette. You know, that thing that I should have did from the beginning? Yeah, I'm going to do that now. You get to watch me struggle and struggle and struggle. Because you know what I love to do more than anything is struggle. I might leave for a bit because my laundry should be coming up. We'll see. The hand isn't perfect, but like I said, it's good enough. So what we're gonna do on this one, actually, you see the edges are kind of jagged. What you can do is just get blur. Nope, too much. Just kind of, nope, that's too much still. It's way too strong. Nope. So what we're gonna do is just pick red and go along the edge. Which sucks because I really enjoyed, like I really thought I had that shape down, and now I'm kind of like adding on to it. Of course, I'm gonna think that this is much better, right? That's how it works. Good enough. All right, let's get this, just a general gray tone. Get that little corner. And then what we can do is we can adjust the colors if needed. So like that red, so let's make a palette. So let's say we got the gray. See, this is when it becomes useful. We got a gray, got this purple, that purple, skin tone, still want the black suit. So what we're gonna do, actually, I want purple. Actually thinking of making the jacket darker. So that was my dark color for the rest of the jacket. Well, what we'll do now is we'll go back and we'll add a multiply layer. So I'm gonna go to canvas on my bucket, change it to current layer. Oh, turn off the gap, I don't need that. Let's see what else. Ooh, kind of like that. So what we'll do, let me just do it all one color and then I can shade it in. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try this, see how I like it. Ah, that's much better than the red. I'm a big fan of purple, so. And then for the black suit, instead of that blue, we'll take this and we'll up the saturation. That's up the saturation. What we'll do is we'll take this. We'll up the saturation. That's not working. That's more saturated. That might work. Turn back to layer. Let's see. This one might need to change right there and there, but much, 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 much better. I really like that. What I'll do is we'll That's way too bright, I think. The advantages of doing this. Does bring the focus to it a little bit more compared to that. That's kind of all muddled. I'll use that color for the mug. How's that? I know there's no one in the chat right now, so I'm asking just myself. Yeah, I think I like that. I mean, it's not perfect, but what is? Sinister Spider-Man. That's who it is. Superior Spider-Man, sorry. Superior Spider-Man had the black lenses. Oh, and who's Superior Spider-Man, you might be asking? That is when, of all people... Oh, maybe he didn't. That's when Doc... Yeah, he does. Doc Ock took over Peter Parker's body. As one does. And tried to become a better Spider-Man. Hence the superior part. his costume. The black and red with black lenses. Because, of course, why not have black lenses? That's right. That's why it looks soft. This is supposed to be... Go back to my line art layer. Alright. Also, it helps that a lot of it's in black because the anatomy is off. Alright, so hoodie, I'm actually going to make a darker color. So one thing you can do, if you're ever wondering if your piece is looking okay, well, one, you can try flipping it. I'm afraid to do this, but I'm going to have to. Looks just as bad. So let's flip it back. But one thing you can do is you go to filter and you go to grayscale. So you adjust the color and look at it grayscale. And if it's not readable here, you can tell that your saturation needs to change. One option you can always also do is actually put a grayscale down and then put color on top of that and set the color to overlay, and then that will adjust the hue. You adjust it and it will adjust it to the right saturation. So that is always an option. So that looks fine, so I'll just go back. I don't need to adjust anything. Alright, so now we're going to do... Oh. I am going to go on a... slight break. back in a moment. All right. So what I'm going to do actually is create a layer mask because we're going to be adding some highlights and some shading and everything. So what I'm going to do is select from canvas, get this entire outside. There's some spots that need color and stuff, so we'll go back and fix those real quick. On this layer, underneath everything, I'm going to invert it, and then, wait. There we go. And I am going to just pick a color. Normally I pick something bright so that I know if it's outside of it. I'm going to make sure that my expansion is actually to 0 because I don't need it. You shouldn't see anything. Let's try that one more time. Invert. Oh, because this is on canvas. It's not current layer. There. All right. We'll get to it. I'm still on magic thing. All right, there we go. Should have it filled, but it's not because I still am trying to get it right. Current layer. And it should all be full. Cool. So then what I'm going to do is clip. I should have did this beforehand. Is clip this down. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. So yeah, one of the perks of living in a multi-generational home is that the washing machine's done, the dryer's done. It's time to get it out. So, thanks for waiting. Let's get rid of the selection. So what I'm doing now is I'm using this layer as a clipping mask. So then what I can do is I can clip things down towards it. And what that does is it acts like a mask, so that I can draw outside of it. Let me show you real quick. I can draw outside of it, but it only is going to fill inside. So the ideal thing to do with that is to make sure that you don't draw outside of your fills. So right now we're going to be doing a word I'm looking for. We're going to be doing our shadows. Hey Luna. We're going to be doing our shadows. So I got to pick a lighting source. I think in the front it's probably the most ideal. And then what I'll do is I'll add my shadows. Ooh, that's not good. My clipping mask is somewhat too large, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this layer. Let me remove and select this layer. And I'm going to make it smaller. Oh, I need to invert it. So it's just inside of my line art. There we go. Okay, so it's going to be, the light's probably going to be coming from the top right. So I'm going to be shading on this side. We'll be on a multiply layer probably. And we'll, I tend to do my shadows at 100% just so I can see it. And then I'll go back and I'll adjust. I can adjust for color. I can adjust for opacity and all of that jazz. So audio is kind of soft, by the way. I'm kind of soft. Yeah, I need to adjust. Probably need to get an external microphone. I'm just using the microphone on the actual iPad, so. But thank you. All right, let's try drawing this. Too big. So these parts right here, I'm going to clean these up, but these parts right here, I'm not necessarily going to put into shadow because they're supposed to be highlights. If I put it into shadow, it gets really hard to see, but we'll see how the rest of the piece goes. No, I am doing. I've got my Chromebook set up so that I can check out my stream, but I'm doing a screen capture directly from my um, iPad. I'm still trying to work out the streaming, capturing my art and everything else. Um, Everyone is like, "Oh, it's super easy," and I'm like, "Cool." And then I try to do it, and it never seems to work out. So Chromebook is set up. Everything I'm using is yeah. I am just trying to like figure this out. And I'll see a tutorial and I'll say, "Oh, this is all you have to do," and I'm like, "Cool." And I look at the tutorial and it's from 2020, which is, as we all know, 100 years ago. Just type this in, just do this. I'm like, cool, I can do that. So I will definitely get some help from you, if you don't mind. So this one right here, so as you can see, I have the shadow going between the two lines. If I had it just on that spider web line, it wouldn't read right. So by putting it in between, it definitely looks like a cast shadow instead of just a coloration. And honestly, a lot of this is just making it up. I used to spend so much time trying to like figure out shadows, and honestly, it's just make it up. Almost 90% of the time. Alright. So like right here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this pretty large. And you know I'm gonna have a shadow here and here and here. Just do some quick ones and then adjust for them. A lot easier to adjust without trying to like spend a whole lot of time trying to make it perfect. And originally I was gonna go for like a Spider-Verse type look, and I still might, but we'll see. With like the dots and everything. As you can see, I missed some spots with color. Oh well, I'll get to it. make sure I don't go so fast on these. I know it can be kind of hard to look at. Oh. So I have my selection layer up, my selection on, but it didn't seem to affect anything. Oop, too big. Alright, let me go back, and so then this layer would get lowered down, the opacity would get lowered down based on how intense I'm going to make the background. We'll see what I do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back onto my color layer and fill in some of these missing. This is why I picked the pink underlayer, just so that I could see what was missing. On the right layer? Yeah. Alright, I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there. I don't quite know what I'm doing for the background yet, so I'm gonna just sit on that idea for a bit. Thanks for coming by. Hope everyone has a good day. See you around next time.